Hi, I'm Heather. I'm a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner as well as a transformational mind coach. I am actually here today to talk to you about spirits and attachments. So, you may have been hearing the big hype about lots of people doing spirit release and attachment release and all the things. So, this is just from my perspective. So, I've been doing spirit release, attachment release, whatever you want to call it. It's just a label. I've been doing that for the last 6 months. And let me tell you, my very first client, I'll tell you how it happened. So, I was doing a regular in-person QHHT session, and what had happened was everything was going normal. I was going into a past life, and in that past life regression, something weird happened. And what had happened was the voice changed. Things were just kind of getting a little weird, and what I ended up noticing was that she wasn't able to see things. And she started crying and saying that something had a hold of her. And so I was like, okay, this is not going the way I was anticipating. And I had just started this, didn't really know what I was getting into. So I was like, oh boy, what do I do? And so I just kind of went with it, went with my gut. And then what had happened, we got to a point where, again, this is my very first one. She was laying there with eyes closed under hypnosis, and she literally, and I was in my book going, oh gosh, okay, what do I do now? What do I say now? And in that moment, she rose off the bed like this with eyes wide open and said, "You can't take us." Of course, screamed it at me. And I was like, holy crap, this is real. So anyways, I proceeded to communicate with this being, and since then, learning all the things that I've learned, I am not afraid of these things. But this particular being was it described itself like an Ursula being, like an octopus type being. She had ADHD, and she felt like her legs would never stop moving. And so as we were talking to this being was moving her legs and her arms. Like, she was very motion sensitive, and it was just very strange in that very beginning session that I had. And so we ended up getting those beings to light. And so what I do is, and this is a mission that I decided to do before I got here, everything is of the light, and we are all from source. Now, with the light, there is the dark, and the dark plays their part for lessons. And when you realize that that's all it is just a lesson, then you are able to release that. And so we have to get to the root of what the lesson is. So most of the time, we get these attachments sometimes in the womb, sometimes as soon as we're born, a lot of times when we're children, in between that 0 to 7. That's when you are the most connected to source. You are still more in theta state. And so with that, you can then get attachments because of the different things that you encounter. So whether it be some kind of trauma, abuse, physical, emotional, you can also have sexual abuse. You could be bullied at school. Any little thing that becomes a continuation, and when that loop, those thoughts keep coming into mind, you end up creating a crack in your aura. And with that crack in the aura allows these attachments to come in. And so from what I have witnessed throughout the last 6 months that I've been doing this, is that we can have earthbound attachments, and we can have, I call them thought form energies. You can also have ETs. There's interdimensional parasites. I've seen, I have clients that have seen dragons. I mean, there is just so many different things that I have encountered throughout this process. And again, every time I do it, as soon as I start to work with this energy, I'll ask them if they know why I'm there, and they all say, I do, I remember. And it's so powerful that I'm just so blessed, honestly, that I have been able to step in my power and not be afraid of what to come, right? So with this process, I've actually been able to connect in with these beings or this energy, whatever it may be, and I've been able to allow it to find the light again, and then to either cross over or go on to the next part of its journey. And so we're able to set people free. And I think that is probably the best description of how you can set yourself free. Because what I've learned is from doing this work myself, having this done myself, is that when I had my first spirit release session, I actually had, I remember this one being who was she was an earthbound named Sally. And when the practitioner asked Sally, why is she there? She said, I am here because her mother does not show her enough love. I'm here to show her love. I am here to protect her. You cannot send me anywhere because she still needs me. And of course, my practitioner was like, no, this is a free will universe. You're not supposed to be here. You have to leave. So she was crying and kicking and screaming through me. And when she left, I didn't realize, like, all of the chatter that I had in my head was her. I've also had a lot of other attachments. I had a lot of thought forms from childhood. I had some ET attachments as well. And the 3 ET attachments that I had was actually here as my lesson to step into my power. They were here, they were begging to be released because I was still holding on to them. And their lesson for me was, you need to let us go. And I didn't really understand that in the beginning when I started this journey, but now I realize they were there to teach me that I am here to allow them to go back to the light. And that's such an honor that I get to work with these beings in this energy, and they not always are they willing, not always are they nice. Some of them have been here since what they call the beginning of time, whatever that may be. And they are what we call generational curses, really. Like, it's something that's been passed down, and so it comes like through the maternal line or the paternal line. So it just really depends on, sometimes it comes from both. And when we sign up for these crazy contracts, we don't realize this, but when we sign up for these crazy contracts, we are here to eradicate that darkness within. And when we incarnate into this life, we then go and take on all of this generational stuff, and we hope to break it within our lifetime. So it's pretty cool how all this works, but it's nothing to fear. It's actually so, like, freeing, right? I'm telling you what, I've had some of the coolest things after. I've had a lady that had stage 2 cancer in the breast, and when we did her session, she also had issues with the womb, had issues with cysts on her ovaries. Like, it was insane. And she had an abortion and a miscarriage in her lifetime. And when we did this particular session with her, she was able to go in, and she saw so much anger and frustration and, like, lots of different negative emotions around the miscarriage that she had, because that made her lose her her boyfriend at the time. And so she had a lot of resentment, and that was leading to the breast cancer. It was a lot of anger, lots of rage in the breast. And so when we did this process, she saw an angel come in, kind of swoop in and take that energy in the form of a baby and took it to the light. And then when we dealt with the miscarriage, which was the ones in the the abortion, sorry, was in the ovaries. It was kind of stuck in the ovaries, and that was a lot of grief and sadness because she wanted to keep the baby and lots of emotions around that. But we were able to get to the bottom of that, release that energy. Her father came over from the other side and took the baby back to the light. Such a beautiful session. And she has actually got proof. She has literally went to the doctor. We did a session on Wednesday, went on Friday, and had a biopsy of the breast, no cancer. She has since also went and had a checkup on her cyst that she thought that was still there, and she has recently, like as of last week, no cysts. And so she's noticed a huge difference in her periods and all the things. So these things are very beneficial for you. There's things that we're holding on to that we cannot let go of. And so this is just a different technique. You still can go in the past lives with this, but the first thing is to get clean and clear. When you get clean and clear of all of that energy that's been stuck there, it's such a freeing thing to experience. So I invite you to come along with the journey, find out if this is meant for you, and I would love to connect. So if you really like this video, I hope you give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Have a great day.